The new Avatar movie is racist and a white man's fantasy. I guess, look, I'm going to roll with this one because I don't like the Avatar series as it is. The original movie I thought was really bad, and I can't believe it got over, what was like 2 billion or whatever insane amount of money it made. I thought the movie was generic, boring. It's fine, I guess, but it's generic, unobtainium. And then they're like, we're going to make 5 of these. And I was like, yeah, please don't. So when they finally announced they're making a new Avatar movie, I was just like, I'm not going to go see that movie. And I still haven't. I have not seen the movie. But what I'm loving is that not only are activists coming out and saying the movie is racist, they're also calling it now a white man's fantasy. Indigenous groups call for a boycott of Avatar 2 after director James Cameron is slammed for being tone deaf and condescending. Okay, what does indigenous mean? Let's just break this one down. Indigenous groups. Indigenous to where? Are you talking about indigenous Europeans, indigenous East Indians, indigenous Japanese? Oh, you're talking about indigenous British people? Okay, hold on there a minute. This is the Daily Mail reporting, okay, using the word indigenous. I believe the British are the indigenous. They're white people. White man's fantasy says white people. Okay, we get it. You're talking about America and Native Americans. I just want to point out, please, the Na'vi are fictional alien creatures with tentacle head things that can connect to each other. They're not appropriating anyone's culture. Oh, but they use bow and arrow. Asians had bows and arrows. Native Americans had bows and arrows. Well, hold on there a minute. Which indigenous are we talking about again? Yeah, but they have braids and leathers and animals, and it's very tribal. Every civilization, every culture was tribal. There's dozens that have braids. They are trying to make it Native American. Okay, well, basically Avatar was space Pocahontas as it is, so whatever. But let's read, and then we can talk about how Avatar 2 is probably going to tank and lose a lot of money in the long run. I think they've done globally like $500 million. It's not bad, but apparently they have to make $2 billion to break even because of the insane costs. The movie's ridiculously long. I've heard bad things about it. And then I'll tell you why I don't want to see this one. But here we go. I love this because it's like there's no winning at all. The fact that if you depict any kind of culture that is tribal, pre-technological, then you must be making fun of Native Americans. It's like the stupidest thing ever. Okay, here we go. A film critic decried Avatar: The Way of Water as a white man's fantasy of Native American resistance, as at least one indigenous group has called for a boycott of the blockbuster sequel. Yes. Cultural appropriation of the Na'vi. The film debuted to largely positive reviews, a 78% critic score and 93% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and nearly $500 million worldwide at the box office. Okay, so nearly, not even. However, Jason Asenat, who comes from Comanche and Muskogee Creek tribes, according to his bio writing for Grist, wrote that he hoped moviegoers would look for indigenous futurism filmmaking from people other than director James Cameron, becoming the latest indigenous critic of the film. Here's what I love about this stuff. It's like James Cameron goes, it's an alien society with limited technology. How does that manifest? In every way we have seen. On North Sentinel Island, where there are a bunch of people who are, I believe, black. They may be Indian, I'm not sure. Dark-skinned individuals. When helicopters fly near, they fire bows and arrows at it, and they're wearing like loincloth. That is not... It's like, do you think the North Sentinelese got word of the Native Americans and then stole their culture? That's the point. So simply because they show that the Na'vi are not technologically advanced and use bow and arrow, that this means they're mocking Native Americans. It's like imagine there's a clown and he's like dancing around and you look at him and go, hey, stop making fun of me. You're like, what in the clown do you see as yourself? Like, why do you think they're targeting you? Right? It's like when you see, some dude will see like women laughing and then he'll be like, you're laughing at me. And it's like, you are so insecure. Your assumption is they must be talking about you, but you're also narcissistic. Isn't that weird? Asenet points out that you can make up anything you want in a fantastical tale and even have your left-leaning cake too. Oh, but that the issue is that Cameron based the original film on the plight of the Lakota Sioux indigenous people. Oh, did he? Cameron, so apparently he did. Yeah, sure. Cameron told The Guardian in 2010, I couldn't help but think that if the Lakota Sioux had a time window and they could see the future and they could see their kids committing suicide at the highest rates in the nation because they were hopeless and they were in a dead-end society, which is what is happening now, they would have fought a lot harder. Asenet calls the comments from 12 years ago tone-deaf, condescending, and not the kind of ally I want or need to help tell indigenous stories. Oh, yes, aliens, indigenous stories. Sure, great. He notes that a Native American group, Indigenous Pride Los Angeles, has called for a boycott of the film. Okay. I genuinely don't know if this is a typo or I just, some kind of glitch. I'm not trying to be mean. But it says, as does Tali Honana. I'm not trying to pronounce it wrong. Co-chair of the group tweeted, do not watch Avatar: The Way of Water. Join natives and other indigenous groups around the world in boycotting this horrible and racist film. Our cultures were appropriated in a harmful manner to satisfy some white man savior complex. No more blueface. Lakota people are powerful. Wait, blueface? The Na'vi aren't real people. Wait. The critic suggests someone like Taika Waititi himself, the descendants of the Maori, New Zealand's indigenous tribes, might have been more sensitive with the material. Asenath wonders about the overall point of the film. Do we need a white guy to dress these issues up in the world of fantasy where 10-foot-tall aliens fight hard enough to save the day to prove that they aren't, after all, a dead-end society? Yeah. Look, I think the movie's really bad for a variety of reasons. It's just, come on, man. These people. Okay, so that's actually her name. Azza'a Tele'i Hona'a Ei. Like legit, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to pronounce that. Forgive me if I'm getting it wrong. I really am trying to pronounce your name correctly. Do not watch Avatar: The Way of Water. No, she has her pronouns in her bio too. Join natives and other indigenous groups around the world in boycotting this racist film. James Cameron's anti-indigenous statement on the Lakota. What is this? I felt like I was 130 years back in time watching what the Lakota Sioux might have been saying at a point when they were being pushed and they were being killed and they were being asked to displace and they were being given some form of compensation. This was a driving force for me in the writing of Avatar. I couldn't help but think that if the Lakota Sioux had a time window and they could see the future. So we read that. Blueface. Characters are played by a non-indigenous person. Oh, no. Okay, we can't be aliens anymore, apparently. James Cameron is guilty of favoring non-indigenous folks to play Na'vi, an alien race based on many indigenous cultures he appropriated from. This is a form of racist caricature known as blueface, coined after his infamous film in 2009, Avatar, where a creator appropriates many non-white cultures, blends them together indiscriminately or blatantly, and has white people play or voice them, using fiction as a medium to necessitate and validate their world building. I'd just like to point out that Zoe Saldana is not white, but sure, whatever. It is a combination of red face, black face, yellow face, and other racist tools creators use to justify not centering or validating the experiences, voices, faces, and bodies of black, indigenous, and other marginalized people of color, and that color being blue. Zoe Saldana, I don't know what her ethnic background is, but it's not white. Yeah. We have enough proven talent at this point that we don't need out of that. You know what I love? Can I give a shout out to everyone's favorite John Leguizamo, the Pistario? Because he complained that Mario and Luigi in the new Mario movie are being voiced by white people. Notably, Mario will be voiced by Chris Pratt, seems strange, and Luigi by Charlie Day. Actually, that one kind of works. And then he's like, having white actors voice these characters is a step backwards for us. And I'm just like, bro, Mario and Luigi are white European guys. This is insanity. But you know what? I'm here for it because I don't like Avatar as it is. Weird blue alien cat people. Whatever. He basically took Fern Gully and Pocahontas and he just remade it. It's so tired. But whatever, man. He made money. I'm not so sure he's going to make money on this one. What did they say? At some point, we got to talk about cultural appropriation of Avatar, and white actors are cosplaying as POC. Oh, is that what it is? It's just a mess, and so not necessarily necessary, and no amount of visual effects CGI is going to erase that. Bad lace fronts, dry synthetic braids. Jesus, fix it, she said. This is film critic Kathia Woods, contributor for BuzzFeed. These people are never satisfied. They're always finding something to complain about. Cultural appropriation and white savior complex. This is why we can't have nice things. From Deadline. Avatar, The Way of Water scores Best Tuesday of 2022 with $18.3 million. $18 million. Domestic rise to $168 million plus box office. So I ask you, is the narrative all true? They're saying the movie is not doing well, but is it? Honestly, I don't know. Let's read a little bit. Wednesday AM. Avatar, The Way of Water scored $18.3 million yesterday, a 30% gain over Monday. In the Best Tuesday of 2022, besting Rise of Gru's $17.5 million. This takes the domestic running total of James Cameron's directed sequel to $168.6 million. Global Tuesday was $58.5 million. Overseas running total is $387.3 million for a running worldwide total of $559.9 million. IMAX stateside did 2.2, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, he's going to have to generate $2 billion. That's the big news here. So do they have anything to say? They say globally, Avatar 2 will fly past the $500 million point today. The sequel helped propel Disney past the $4 billion worldwide office point this year, the most to date for any studio. You can read the rest of their box office, blah, 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 blah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the modern era where no matter what you do, you're racist. Everything you try to make will be slammed as cultural appropriation, white man savior complex, even when you are talking about aliens. But I'll tell you why I'm here for it. We can talk a little bit about modern politics, and I'll talk to you about the first Avatar movie. And I very well may end up seeing this movie, but I stress I don't want to. I really don't want to see it because the first one was just so dumb. But there's probably a lot of people who are, I'm a big fan, Tim. You're insulting my, you're allowed to like it. I'm just saying I don't like it, okay? I don't like the movie. You're allowed to like whatever you want to like. I'm not here to rag on what your tastes are. We all have different opinions. But I didn't like it. I don't want to see it. I may go see it for, the cultural issue that this is. But let's talk about the modern world. James Cameron. These are the people in Hollywood who have supported wokeness, who have defended it, who have just lied and pandered and said, well, I don't want to stick my neck out. And now they get to reap what they have sown, and it is so juicy and sweet. It's like a fresh, ripe peach, and you're just biting right into it. It's delicious. The sugars, it's so ripe. The people in Hollywood want to constantly push wokeness. They want to be divisive. They want to prop this up. So when they put out their movies and they get roasted for it and they're called racist, I sit back and say, congratulations, Johnny Wokeness Seed. You went around throwing those plants all around. And when we said stop doing it, you said you're a bigot. Now the roosters have come home. The cows are coming home. And you get to pay the price for exactly what you decided to do. Okay? So look. I ain't going to come out here and defend you. I'm here for it, baby. Your movie's trash. They're mad at you for being racist. Good. You deserve it. Those are your ideas, not mine. But let's talk about that first Avatar movie, huh? Unobtainium. Okay. This has been a long time coming. And it's not a review of Avatar 2. But I'll tell you why I don't think anybody needed a sequel to this. I suppose it'll be interesting to see, look at this. He says, Avatar 3 and 4 scenes already shot to avoid Stranger Things issue. What, like people getting older or something, I guess? Whatever. So, look. In the first movie, you have the main bad guy dies. Sigourney Weaver dies. It was Pocahontas in space. That I've already said. Unobtainium. They need a mineral from this. The plot was so dumb. Like, You are coming to a planet inhabited by an alien species. And they have this big vein of a rare material you need. And so you decide we can blow up all these people and destroy their tree or go somewhere else. Yo, your plot is not going to convince me that it was not more cost effective to just mine something else. They did not give me anything. It's just some business guy being like, but look, they got all this metal under that tree and I want it. It's like, well, okay. But I mean, if you're going to have to blow up a bunch of people and go to war, maybe you should just, I don't know, move a few miles and go find another vein somewhere else. Sure, they can try and give us the convoluted point of, but everywhere else was also occupied because the little Na'vi people love living around all this metal. Whatever, man. It was a generic indigenous versus industrialist story with nothing of real merit. And so they decided to make a part 2. And I'll tell you what my problem is with the part 2. They want to bring back Sigourney Weaver because they said they would, but Sigourney Weaver's dead. So they do this weird, like, they make the teenage character Sigourney Weaver. When I found that out, I was just like, come on, dude. Lady's like 60-something years old. And they're going to have her voicing this teenage Na'vi character. And I'm just like, whatever, man. Not interested. That's so stupid. Then they say they're going to bring back the bad guy. Ah, here we go. Look, I know I didn't see the movie. Maybe many of you who did see it are like, Tim, no, it's pretty good. I know. I'm sure the movie's entertaining. I'm going to say it outright. I bet I will enjoy this movie. I don't want to see it because it feels generic. Like, I couldn't believe it when it was back when Avengers came out, Endgame, and they were like, Avatar was the highest grossing film of all time and Avengers can't beat it. And I was like, Avatar? Really? I guess it was like they spent so much money on the CGI, it was groundbreaking or something. I didn't think the movie was that good. I didn't think the CGI was all that inspiring. And then Endgame was the culmination of this 10-year project and it couldn't crack that number. And I was like, really? Not that I think Endgame was all that great. It was fun. Infinity War was legit. But then Avengers cheated. Disney or Marvel, whoever, I don't remember if Disney owned it at the time. They cheated. What they did was they were like, we're extending the theatrical run with special features. Yeah. You didn't beat Avatar, and that's a sad day for all of us. The Blue Cat People Pocahontas did more than a 10-year Marvel project that made billions of dollars. How about that? These Marvel movies gross like $1 billion each, and their ultimate culmination could not beat Avatar without some kind of cheating. We get it. Modern culture's stagnant, man. This is the real reason they decided to make a new Avatar. Now, James Cameron was talking about how they wanted to make 2, 3, 4, and 5 for a decade, and they didn't do it. So they want to come back, 13, 14 years later and be like, look, here's the sequel. It's finally done. Okay, that's fine. But my issue is all they keep doing is rehashing old stories with nothing relevant, nothing new. They inject wokeness into this stuff. It's garbage. Maybe this movie won't be so woke. I don't know. Maybe, I'll go see it. We'll see. But they keep regurgitating the same stuff. And then I'm thinking of music. I'm thinking of movies. I'm thinking of video games. And I'm like, all we ever get is a rehashing of the same old story. And now they're thinking, they probably thought, you know what? We should now do a sequel to this movie because everyone's going to want to see the sequel because it's been so long and the movie was such a highest grossing thing. Maybe. I don't know. It seems to be doing all right, despite the fact there are detractors who are trying to claim that it's failing. I'm not so sure it will. I mean, the reporting is it's probably not going to make enough money, so it may be spiral out, but maybe this boycott will really work. Maybe the woke people will refuse to see it because it's racist, because the 2008 era, when they released the movie the first time, ain't the same as the modern era. Y'all wanted to make money off this, but y'all cultivated the wokeness. So the only thing I have to say is I hope you don't break even. I don't know about James Cameron specifically. I'm just saying Hollywood deserves to get all of the woke activists coming for them, attacking their movies, and boycotting it. Here's ultimately what I think, though. I think the stronger likelihood is in the movie making money. I don't think it'll be the highest grossing movie of all time based on its current trajectory, but I could be wrong. I mean, it's been like a week or something. But I think it'll do all right. I think the average person doesn't really care about this wokeness stuff. And so you got people talking about, I don't want to get into politics, but with the RNC, you've got a bunch of people saying that they're going to support the establishment. Some people saying they're going to support the up-and-comer, which is Harmeet Dillon. And the reality is the secret ballot. The secret ballot is people can publicly say one thing, but then go vote another way. And that's what I see here. The woke people are going to come out. They're going to call for a boycott. Leftists are all going to be like, oh, yeah, oh, geez, the movie's so bad. Then they're going to go home and their friend's going to be like, you want to go see that movie? And they're going to go, yeah, sure. Then they're going to show up and then James Cameron's going to get his money. They're not going to learn their lesson because the average person doesn't care, but eventually they will. Eventually, they will cause enough damage to themselves, like when Scarlett Johansson was going to play a trans man character, a character that was biologically female that transitioned to male, I believe. And then the activists complained, so Scarlett Johansson bailed out of the role and the movie collapsed. And it's kind of sad because there were trans activists who were like, this was a huge opportunity for trans lead characters, and you killed it because you didn't want the biggest movie star in the world to portray a trans man. Hey, look, woke people, you reap what you have sown. So I'm going to sit back. I'm going to watch the movies and the cartoons and the TV shows that I like, and y'all can enjoy whatever nonsense you've created for yourselves. In the meantime, James Cameron can make all the money in the world with the new Avatar movie, but it is what it is. I suppose the last thing I'll say is, yeah, I'll probably go see it. Not because I want to. I didn't want to go see the Rise of Skywalker either, but I had to. Because it's a cultural phenomenon, and if I'm going to comment on it, I should probably know what the movie's all about. So I'll go see it. I've heard some bad reviews. I've heard the movie's really slow. And I've heard there's like huge portions that don't need to be in the film. And they're trying to awe you with visuals. But like, dude, I play video games, man. It's 2022. It's not 2008. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.